Security Now Illustrated by AskMisterWizard.com, illustrating concepts, mechanisms, and algorithms from the amazing Security Now podcast by Steve Gibson and Leo LaPorte. Episode 27, How LANs Work. Segment 6, DHCP, the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol.
Many people will just use, they'll configure their Windows or their Mac or their Linux client to so-called obtain an IP address automatically. Mm-hmm. And essentially what that does is when the computer is turned on, it will send out a broadcast saying, "Hi there, I'm new in the neighborhood," literally. Is there a DHCP server listening that will hand me an IP? And so they're able to, knowing nothing about the network, to broadcast this DHCP query saying, has this LAN got someone who can give me an IP address? And in the case of a residential network, that'll be the router that'll be turned on and waiting. It'll receive this broadcast because a LAN, and we'll be talking about this in 2 weeks, has the ability to essentially have like an all stations receive sort of deal. So not even knowing nothing about the network at all, whether it's a 10 dot, a 192.168, or any IP, it's able to say, "Hey there, can somebody help me?" The DHCP server or service process, which is running in the LAN's router or gateway, it will respond to that and say, "Hi there, I'm responsible for doling out IP addresses," and so it'll establish a dialogue with the machine that has broadcast the query network wide and said. And so it'll say, here's what you want to use for your DNS servers, here's what you need to set your subnet mask for, and here's my own IP to use as a gateway, and here's an IP you can use that is unique for yourself. So it's the DHCP server in a network that's configured dynamically, which is responsible for doling out these IPs as machines first appear on the network.
So when you set your Windows box to obtain IP address automatically, that's the setting in the network settings. That's what it's doing. You're saying use the DHCP server and get a number from them.
And of course, in terms of DHCP, since most ISPs use the same DHCP to assign IPs to their residential computers, the NAT router itself is a DHCP client. When it turns out on the WAN port going out toward the internet, it will say, "Hey, I need an IP." And so, again, the ISP will be running its huge DHCP server, which is providing IPs to everybody plugged into its whole network. And so it will assign the router a unique IP for the WAN connection that the router has, just in the same way that then the router turns around and is the DHCP server for your own local LAN. So the same thing is going on both sides. So your router is a DHCP client for your ISP's WAN side, and it's the DHCP server for your little residential LAN side. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah, and I guess you could go on and on and on.
To see the other segments and related resources for this episode, please join us at AskMisterWizard.com. Select Security Now from the prominent section index at the top of the homepage. Choose an episode from the index at the bottom, and then select a segment from the resulting page. The original audio-only version of this podcast can be found on the Gibson Research Corporation site at grc.com/securitynow. This clip illustrates some of the highlights from that show. This video clip comes from a large collection of related clips. All are indexed and easy to find at www.askmisterwizard.com, along with related items, text articles, illustrations, and forums. Please visit us today. We appreciate your support. Thank you.